Hey guys, it's Cheryl from Tinker's Cart Art. Sunday morning, it is Sunday. It is still morning. Welcome, hello. I'm going to paint a little bit with you this morning and I'm in full winter mode. So I believe that we are going to start painting more snowmen and winter scenes and all of that sort of thing. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to quickly show you what I'm going to paint, then I'll turn the camera down so you can actually see me. Hey Diana, thanks for watching. So I don't know if you caught me in the summertime and in the fall when I painted all these fabric tote bags. I discovered I had dozens of them in my stash. Yeah, hi Dawn. Thank you for watching. And what I found, when I go to paint, I used to just paint right on the fabric tote bag. And you know, it's a little bit of a texture on this canvas. You'd have to dig in a little bit to get your shapes because the paint would ride along the top of the little canvas. So what I discovered was to tape off a big rectangle, put a couple of layers of paint on it, and then when you paint on top of this, it's like painting a little more like on a painted surface rather than on the texture surface. And then when you peel off the tape, you have this nice little rectangle. So you'll see that's the best part, the big reveal at the end. Hey, Jen, thanks for watching, and Sharon. Hey, you guys are popping right on. So we are going to get some painting in before the football starts, right? Okay, so let me turn the camera around and show you up close what I'm going to paint. I'm going to just pick out a little whimsical snowman. I painted this actually with this teal color over the summer, expecting to paint like a Halloween thing on it. But I think it would be nice. You know, I get a little bit tired of all the green and red, green and red. I like to use some pinks and some teals without my Christmas things and my winter things. So that's what we're going to do today. So hold on. You know, it's like a roller coaster ride here, and I'm going to turn you upside down so you can see. I have you on my computer. So if you have questions and comments, please, just put them in the comments and I'll keep watching it. So hang on, here we go. And I want to get it so you can sort of see up close what I'm doing. I'm going to pull that back a tiny bit. My stand's a little out of whack this morning. Thank you for your patience, and I'm going to make sure that it's okay on the computer. So if it's a little wonky right now, I will straighten it out. I have a little bit of a delay on my computer here, so let me know that you're watching and say hello. That's my favorite part. Where are you watching from? I love to see where everyone's from. Let's see who's the furthest today. Who's watching from far away? Okay, that looks like you can see it. But as I go, if you see it's going to be an issue and I move something, let me know. Hi, Carrie. Charlotte's here. Hello. You've been doing so many paintings of snowmen, too. It's so fun. Oh, Deb, not even to worry, because this is going to stay up as a recording. And I generally take all of these lives that you catch me on and put them on YouTube. So if you hop over to YouTube at some point, subscribe to my channel, Tinker's Cart Art, you will see all of these in one place. All right, so I'm going to just sketch a little design on here. I have it in my mind. I want a snowman. I want to keep to some softer colors. I want to maybe use some pinks and teals and things. And Lorraine, thanks. Oh, it's so good to see you here. How are you? And Diana from California in Ontario. Look at, we got all over the place. Thank you guys. And let me know and say hello and chat with each other. It's kind of fun. And please let your friends know if you have anybody crafty or creative that wants to learn to paint or see some fun ideas. Share my page or let them know that I'm here painting. So I think rather than do a few snowmen, we've just got this tall rectangle. Let's just do one snowman. Let's just kind of put him right in the middle. I'm just going to give her a little sketch. Just chalk. It's a great handy thing to have in your paint kit. I sketch with it because I don't have to worry about following my lines. I can erase the chalk pretty easily afterwards. And I just do a little sketch just to give myself an idea. Sometimes I'll hop right on and paint. I think I want to have him holding a big, tall candy cane, maybe. I want to use some pinks in there, so I think that would give me the opportunity to put some pink in. He's going to just have just a little fun little black hat. Sometimes I do stocking knit caps. Sometimes I do berets. I'm going to go with the traditional black hat on this guy. How detailed do we want to get? Let's see. I could do a little tree in there, the kind that are just those little craggly ones, you know, just with a few branches, like a little Charlie Brown tree. A lot of times we'll put a cardinal on the hat or on his hand, which we could sort of do because it would we could make it more of a pink cardinal. But I think I want to have him holding somehow a candy cane. let's do it like this, maybe. Let's just a candy cane. I don't know. We'll just put that there and we'll play around. We'll see what happens with it. And like I said, it's a little easier to paint on this surface. So I'm just going to go right ahead and start. And if you've seen me paint my snowmen lots of times, you know I start a little darker. I'm not going to go right on there and jump right in with white, because then, you know, I want to have some depth. Even though it's a little whimsical snowman, I want to have a little depth. I want to have it a little bit of a blue tone maybe, or I don't usually like to go gray because it's too dull. I take a little black into my blue maybe. And I'm going to just give him a shadow maybe under his hat and maybe along the right side. Let's do that. Underneath each of these little balls would be a little shadow. I was using my little synthetic brush there, but you know what I do love is I do love the hog's bristles, because it's going to dig in to the fabric a little more for me. So let me switch over to a hog bristle brush. I'm putting just a little bit of a blue-gray, little darker on that right side. And again, I'm going to try to do this and keep an eye on the comments. So do keep those comments coming. Say hello. Let me know that everything's okay with everything that you can see. I think I forgot to turn my Do Not Disturb on while I'm doing this, which I generally do. So let's see if I get any interruptions because of that. So you can see just a dark gray blue on one side. I might start just going into the white now. You can see it's not solid white. I'm using the dirty brush going into the white, and it's just giving me a little bit lighter shade of blue. And we'll work our way over to a bright white on the left. And then we can always go and dab on for texture, or brush on some straight white to give him a little bit of a highlight. But highlights won't pop if you don't have this little darker color underneath. So I'm just going to use a little more white each time as I'm working over to the left. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge yet. I think I'll clean my brush off a little bit for that. I'm just taking the dirty brush with white, and can see how it just is a shade lighter of the blue. So I almost don't even have to hardly blend. It's just wet on wet and it's blending. And while this little shadow of my snow is wet, let me throw some white down here, turning into a little light blue. I'm going to just wipe my brush off now. I don't want to really wash it. I don't want to get a lot of water involved. If I was going to a lighter color that I really wanted to keep pure and I washed my brush, I would make sure I dried it off really well. Keep a little paper towel or a little shop rag or something in your hand that you can just be wiping off your brush. And I'm just going to do the left side brighter. You don't have to be real careful with your strokes here because it's a snowman. It's not a perfect circle. It's not a perfect edge. It's okay if it's a little rough, which it is on this texture of this fabric, but it works for our favor because the snow would be a little textured. And it's been a lot of snowman paintings lately, but I do love them. And you can mix them up so many different ways. You could put different clothing on them. You could put glasses on them. I want to paint one with sunglasses. I think that's one of my next projects. Is everybody like me who has so many projects with never enough time that you would do them all? How many projects do you guys have going now? If it's like me, it's like, I think I'm going to be able to do all these things, but let's see. Shelly, this is just my regular acrylic craft paint. Any acrylic paint you have is fine. If you have the tubed heavy bodies, whatever you have. I don't find I need to use the fabric paint. If I was to paint something with a really soft hand, like a t-shirt or something, which I don't generally paint, you might want to fabric paint because it will not be so stiff. But for the canvas things that I paint little sneakers and Converse and Vans. I paint tote bags. I don't mind what happens when I used to use my regular acrylics. They're not going to come off. I don't seal them in any way. You know, if you get paint on your clothes when you're painting, like, it's impossible to get off. So I don't worry about it coming off. It doesn't. So it is just the regular paint, just my regular craft paint. And so you can see now it's got a little shading from a distance. It looks like it has some depth. It's rounded. It's looking more three-dimensional because we have shadow and highlight. It'll probably go over and lighten him up a little as he dries, but that's a good start right there. I dabbed on a little more snow here. I'm washing my brush off so that when I come back with some fresh white, I can really put that on. I can either dab it on for texture. I'm probably going to go after it with some glitter too afterwards, so that's going to be handy there. Now it's just basing in the colors, kind of like paint by number. We're not doing much fancy work. We're just going to paint in the colors. And I'm going to get a brush for my candy cane. I'll start that white. I'm going to shade that a little bit like I did with the lighter blue here. Where it's so thin, though, I'm not going to really do it the dark yet. I'm going to just get in my shape of my candy cane. So what I think is going to be great about this sort of a project, like I said, I did them as trick-or-treat bags and whatnot, but, you know, we're all conscious now about recycling and reusing. And as a gift bag, if you did these up as gift bags, be cute with a little hand-painted tag you can hang on the handle maybe. And you could use them year after year, and the person that you give it to can use it year after year. And you'll be saving a lot of paper, you're saving a lot of gift wrap, and what a nice little heirloom kind of a thing to save and pass down. Something hand-painted. I love to paint. I paint on everything, even if whatever's not moving. But sometimes it's nice to paint on items that are useful and have a purpose. And you're going to combine some artwork with that, and that would be really cool. Okay, it's just a little candy cane. I made it easier by using a flat brush that is about the same size as my candy cane. So that's why I like to have a good variety of flat brushes. I have maybe like a 10. This one is nice because it is a I can't read it, a 6 maybe. But see the long, it's not quite a liner, but it's got that long tip. You can get a lot of paint on there and get a nice long stroke. And when I'm doing buildings, I love having little, maybe not in the best shape, but little square brushes I could just pop on windows without having to struggle. The paintbrush does the work. But I do want to have a little highlight and a shadow on my candy cane. Highlight will come afterwards when we have the stripes on and we put a little white highlights on it. It'll make it look rounded and shiny like candy canes are. But for now, I'm going to get just a little bit of that same bluey gray color on one side. So since I have my shadow on the right side of my snowman, let me just go ahead and actually I'm just going to go right down the right side here with a little of that paint, and because the paint's still wet, I won't even have to really blend it much. It's going to just almost blend itself. That white paint's a little wet still. I'm just going to get a little bit of a darker area, and I am one for moving my painting every which way while I'm painting. Whatever works and makes it comfortable for you, just do it. Sometimes you want to paint on an easel. Sometimes I find painting flat a lot is easier for me. And there's no right or wrong in any of this. In any of this painting we're doing, there's no right or wrong. There's no way that you know is the way you have to do anything. I always show my people how I do it, and I'm very clear about that. Does not mean you have to do it that way. You can do it any which way you want. I want to show you how I get to where I'm going with the painting, but it's so fun to discover new techniques and new ways of doing things. So do whatever works for you. It's kind of fun to develop some new ideas. Okay, so there we are. We've got that all filled in. Let us give him his little black hat. And let's see who's in here watching. We've got a lot of people. Maybe Sunday morning is a good time to paint. Let me know if that's what's good for you, because I hop on a whim with no rhyme or reason usually. So it's nice to come on when I have a good group here. So thank you guys. And again, if you're just hopping on, say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. I'd love to know. And we'll enjoy a little time here on Sunday morning. So I'm going to do one of these little skinny trees. So I am simply going to give myself a little trunk. I've mixed a little black with my brown just to darken it a bit. And the flat brushes are great for a nice wide stroke. But remember, on your chisel edge, you can get a nice thin line. I use my flat brushes for lots of things. Look at this on the chisel edge, how thin of a little line you can get. This is really going to be a skimpy little tree. And I might just drying the brush off. I might dip it into a tiny bit of white, pat it off a little bit, and maybe just go up the side to give it a little highlight. I know I tend to do a little more detail than necessary, you guys. You could have stopped at that. at that brown branch. I always go an extra step, and sometimes it annoys myself even, but I think it gives the painting a little bit more oomph, a little bit more fun. Oh, Javine, snow in Buffalo. Yeah, it's pretty cold here. I'm in Massachusetts, in central Mass. We haven't had nothing like you guys. We were talking about that last night. Someone we were talking with was talking about the 6 feet you got in Buffalo. Unbelievable. Gosh. Oh, early Sunday morning is good, Shelley. Good, good. I'm going to keep that in mind because it's good for me too. And let's paint the black of his hat on. And yeah, I love the first snow, but I'm kind of tired of it after that. I'm getting to be where I just don't want to be cold. I love the holidays. I love the little snow. Then comes January and February, March, sometimes April. You know where you are too. It's still snowing. So I've kind of had enough of that. A lot of my family's in Orlando, and I get down there a lot. And I have to say, I do love going out in the morning and having sunshine and some warm weather, even though you guys are right now saying it's a bit cold. 60 for us is tropical. Okay, I want him to be a little whimsical, so I'm going to kind of curve his little hat, his little rim of his hat here. And again, he'd be fun with a stocking cap, of course, too. And I want to shade it a little bit. It's got a little highlight. It's not really shading. It's really going to be a highlight on this. I'm going to take that light bluey color. Whenever I'm highlighting black, whether it's pet portraits, and I did pet portraits the other night with a group the other day. Last Sunday, actually. Boy, I don't know where the week went. And black dogs, if you shade them with white, they just look gray. So I always am using a bit of a light blue for my highlights. That looks pretty gray there, but I'm going to brighten that up. But it is a light blue. And I think I'll do a little hat band maybe, or maybe just some holly. No, I'm skipping holly. I decided that the holly green on top of this color is not going to be great. I will have a little brush needles on my tree here, but I think I'm going to go on the blue side with that. So I'm going to get a little more of that blue paint out. And I think I will need a little bit of green with it. But I didn't want to do the holly on the head. I think I might do a little brim, a little hat band with the stripes or something, maybe mirroring the stripes on the candy cane. We will see. I am kind of doing this on the fly. Lots of times I will plan out my color palette. In my head, I planned this out a little bit. I'm going to have a little more muted, I thought, and more, like I said, the pinks instead of reds and do that sort of thing. But sometimes it's nice to think about a few colors that you really like, incorporating them in your palette. Don't go wild. Don't use every color under the sun. It'll end up looking like a rainbow. I try to keep 4 or 5 colors and just use different shades of those colors. That's a way to keep your painting a little more cohesive. And I do like that. Good morning, Judy. Hi, you guys. Hey, Sharon, Colorado. Oh, boy, yeah. Oh, I know it. It is cold in places. Again, not worrying about my little chalk lines that are showing. While I was doing this, I should have done my little snowman arms. Let's go back and do that. Let's give him same brown. I just took like a burnt umber with a little black. I just wanted it to show up. And these little stick arms can just be a little random stick. You could put a little of this going on. Sometimes I'll put little mittens on the end of them, which is kind of cute. This guy is going to be kind of holding the candy cane, but it's kind of hard to make a snowman holding something, so we're just going to kind of make it hang in there, and maybe there'll be a little thumb on there or something, a snowman thumb. So let's get our snowman a little whiter. I like to let that paint dry, sink in. Sometimes it darkens a tiny bit, and then we're going to pop on some bright white. Oh, good, Charlotte. Yes, I love it when you can pop in, and you're always good. You always find me, and we always have a good time. Charlotte's in my art membership, and we sure have fun, don't we, Charlotte? In our group, I have a couple of private art memberships that actually I decided, because my birthday is on the 28th, and actually we are having a live painting session that night in the membership, that I've opened up the doors for a little while. It's a pretty good deal if you want to paint. I paint with you live twice a month by Zoom. Nice. One's a long class. One is tutorials, things you might want to learn. I'll go and, on particular subjects. You get 2 recorded classes a month, 2 full recorded. I don't know if you guys saw the nativity scene. It's on my page. Take a look. That is one of the paintings we're doing in December. And it is $24 a month. And you get all the painting with me and any kind of questions you need answered and critiques and whatnot. And the best part is the group, right, Charlotte? The best part is the group. Because it's just so many people have made friends that way. I started it during the lockdown. I always was a in-person teacher, but during the shutdown I pivoted to online, and I love doing my in-person classes still. I do some, not as many as I used to, but I just love getting together with my group online and painting with them. And I'm not even very good at this. I'm not a very good salesperson. I didn't put a link or anything, but there's a post pinned to the top of my page with the nativity scene that does have a link to the membership, or just send me a message. I can give you more information. It's no obligation. You can start it and see if you like it. You have access to 2 years almost worth of paintings in the membership now. You can go back, look at what we did last Christmas. You might find something there. You have access to all of those paintings always. So you saw what I was doing while I was gabbing. I was just dabbing some snow on my little guy. I want to get my candy cane a little brighter on the left side. So I'm going to take a little bit of fresh white paint and just brighten it up a tiny bit. And you can go back as many times as you need to, because you might want a really bright, super bright snowman, and you can do that anytime. Hey, Katie, I'm glad you popped in. Welcome. And Pam from Illinois, and Judy. Hey, thank you guys. I love to paint with you all. And we need a scarf on him. What color? Oh, I know. I'm going to go with the pinks, remember? I'm going to go with pinks for my stripes on the candy cane. I'm going to go pinks with my scarf. So let's get a scarf on there. I'm going to just paint it on. Can you see I'm sort of starting some things with just the color, and then I go back and add some highlights or shadows. So for now, I know I want a pink scarf. Maybe I'll make a little bit that shape. Scarf. Oh, I'm going to love it. Don't you love it on this background? And I'm going to paint snowflakes after hopefully with my paint marker, if it's working for me this morning. Now, sometimes when you're painting, these acrylic paints are not... You don't get the best coverage. You can see through it a little bit. This is a lighter color than what I'm putting on. You can do two things. You can either paint the object in white first, which I don't think we really need to. If it was yellow, we would. Or just add a tiny bit of white to your color. So I've got a little white now in my pink. It just makes it a little more opaque for coverage. I might go back here and get a brighter pink after, but just for coverage, a little bit of white in my paint. So, like I said, I have so many projects. I'll show you a few things I'm going to try to tackle too. And if you want to know, again, I wasn't super prepared, but I will add it into the description. Or actually, I can add it into a comment. If anyone watching wants to know when I'm going live, I send out a little text before I go live, because again, I don't really plan it. I don't have a regular schedule at the moment. I just pop on when I'm going to paint anyway. But if you would like to have a little reminder or a heads up, I'm going to put the number to do that with in the comment here. Text, just text hello or hi or whatever to, and now I need to get my number. You think I would remember it, and I do know it, but I have a number issue, and so I'm going to make sure I have this right in front of me. Let's see, 978-315 5650. It's pretty easy. I think I'd remember it. I'm not good with numbers. So there in the comments, if you want to get a little reminder when I'm going live to paint. So I'm going to do an orange nose for him, but because it's on the lighter tones, like I told you how I would use a palette, this is just going to be a softer palette. So I have my orange, but it's making it a kind of a more subtle orange. I'm mixing a little white even with this light orange, and a little nose for our guy. Let's just make him maybe just right there. Little round brush, very easy. Just press the brush down, wiggle it a little bit, pull it off the canvas, and there you have a nose. Pretty simple. Eyes on your snowman, the buttons, they can always be super easy. You can just use the back end of your brush and do it that way. So easy, just the back end, get a little brush that has maybe the right size. Couldn't be easier. You could use a bigger one for the buttons if you wanted. but I'm using the same one. Okay, little mouth, all kinds of ways to do snowman mouth. Little smile, the little dots like they are little pieces of coal or rocks, or a little, sometimes I paint an oval like they're singing. I might do that on this one. I really kind of like that idea. Or you could have a little smiley one. I'm going to give him a little bit of a blushed cheek before I do the mouth. He's out in the cold, right? So he's going to have a little bit of a pink cheek. Sometimes I water the paint down and I put it really see-through, like a little wash. Sometimes, this time it looks like I'm just going to paint it in. This other one on his left cheek is a little bit hidden by his nose, but we could still get a little bit of a rosy cheek there. You can take and add a little white in there if you want to get it a little bit more subtle. You could certainly even go with a dry brush and soften the edge if you wanted to have it more like a little blushy than a circle. You could do that. Lots of things. Lots of different ways to paint these little guys. All right, so now let's get some stripes on the candy cane, and using a right size little square brush for that works perfectly too. Oh, Cheryl, the painting times. Usually when we do our live painting tutorials, it's at night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have done it on a Saturday morning. It seemed like the evenings were best. Everything is recorded, though, so there's a lot of people that belong that really just go ahead and work by the recordings, which are emailed out to you, and in a private community that we have. But we generally get together in the evenings. Yes. Oh, okay, yep. And if they also, follow is a good thing too if you want. You get a little alert. I forgot about that right through Facebook. So I'm going to use that same pink. I really am liking, what do you think? I like the pink on this, kind of more of the mid-century colors, isn't it? Which I love. So I'm using the little square brush again. It's the right size for a little stripe. I'm just going down at a little angle, down at an angle. And I'm just going to just eyeball them with spacing. They don't have to be perfect. Eyeballing the spacing. Always gets a little wonky for me when it turns the corner. So I sort of just start straightening it out a little bit. And there we are. We have a little piece of one sticking out there. And I do like to get it a little darker in the, so you see where we have the shadow of that blue? I might want it a little darker just for a tiny shadow. I know that's part of my little pickiness coming in. You could leave it like this, perfectly fine. I'm just taking a little red, and just where that darker blue is, I'm just going a little darker. So can you see the difference? It could be fine the other way, but just that little dark there, doesn't it make it just look a little more rounded? And then, like I said, when we get the little highlight on there, it'll look rounded and shiny. And because I'm kind of doing it quick, wet on wet, don't really have to even blend it. I'm going to use that red actually to shade my scarf a little bit. I want it to be pink, but I want a little bit of a shadow in some places. Say this is like a scarf and it's kind of doubled over. It would have a little bit of an indent here. Paint is dry, the pink is dry, but I'm just sort of brushing on that red. I'll go right back in my pink now, and that'll stay wet enough for me to get a little bit of a blend. This is just a little piece. It does not have to be all blended perfectly. But another thing to keep in mind, you guys, you're painting and you're so worried about blending, and you're looking at every little thing and you're criticizing your paintings and you think, believe it, and you're 6 inches, 4 inches painting this from this. Nobody is going to look at it that close ever. So give yourself a little break, step back, look at it from a distance, and do not worry about what it looks like from where you're painting it. Step back from it. So a little bit of a white, just kind of sort of just dry brushed on there. It's kind of a nice look for that. It's a knit scarf. You could almost have, I could almost do this and have it a little textured because it is maybe a knit scarf. Maybe I will give it more texture, just lightly. It might be cool that way. This is how you discover things, just by playing around. Actually, I'm going to go in with my little brush for fun because it started to look a little bit like the little knit if you maybe did something like crisscrosses. I could certainly look up and Google a knit pattern and see, but this will be enough. Just giving it a little texture. That's a little bright. I might have to tone that down. I sometimes just take the back end of my brush and put on little polka dots. Stripes would be super easy. We have the stripes here, so I'm skipping the stripes, but I am going to give a little something for the hat band, and I guess we have no choice but to stay with pink because I just don't want to bring a bunch of random colors in. So let's just do this. Get a little hat band there. It's a little bit of a highlight on the left, so I'm just take some white and just do that. That's enough. Can always do a little red on the other side if we wanted to make it really look rounded. And my little light blue highlight there has kind of gotten lost, so let's put that in again. More white than blue. And across here, maybe a little brighter. Anybody have any questions or anything? Throw them in. Hello, the other Cheryl. Hi there. Oh, Shelly, thanks for the follow, and that is great. I've got a great following here on my page, and I appreciate everyone. So thank you. Oh, mouth. I am going to do my little mouth with the little. I just like this little. Sometimes just this little, like he's singing, right? He's out caroling, maybe. So for my tree, I was going to just do little bits of sparse needles, maybe some Christmas lights. What am I going to use for color for that? That's the question. Like I said, I didn't want to get too green. I wonder if I used the teal that I used for the background with white. That it might not be. It might. It needs a little something. Let's see. Maybe a little more white. I do like keeping it on the same tone a little bit. And it could almost be covered in a little snow. So let me just get a little darker green with it. And that might be what we need just to make it pop a little bit. I am going to put it barely there and then maybe just string some little white lights or something on it. Let's just see what happens here. We'll get a little bit of a darker tealy color. So that's just, I just wanted like little, you know those little folk arty trees, those vintagey trees that are, do they call them brush trees? I'm not even sure. I'm just gonna dab on some little branches. See how quick these projects can be sometimes too? Because I don't think we've been painting a long time, have we? How long have we been painting, does it say? 30 minutes, so maybe a half an hour. But I'm doing a lot of gabbing too. Oh, Pam, yes, good idea. I meant to tell you this. You know what? You could put a piece of cardboard inside, but I just found an old magazine and I stuck it in there. It sticks a little and I could peel it off, but it's just an old magazine because it's the perfect size. And I forget where I got these. I'm sure you can find them on Amazon. And I bought them by the dozen, and I've had them so long, I don't even remember what I bought them for what project I had in mind, but I wanted to use them up. I'm trying to purge my stash here, and I thought, oh, those would be good for Halloween bags, so that's where it started. That's not showing up great. Let's try a little lime green, just to see. I'm sure my chair scraping around sounds real good on there. Prairie tree. Okay. Oh, Debbie, thank you for the stars. You know what? That's thrilling for me that you would do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You guys are good. You are so good to me. Okay. How about this lime green? Oh, yeah, that works. A little bit of here and there. We can add a little white to it after, like it is got a little snow on it. Like you people in Buffalo with all the snow. He would be all snow there if he was there with you guys. I must have got a little strip of water there. That's okay. Okay, would it have something on the tippy top? It's a little star. So I want to do a little star, but again, I'm keeping a little bit of a muted palette, so I'm going to take a little light yellow, a little bit on the gold side, but I'm going to mix it with white because I want it to be subtle, a tone down. And I'm just using my same little detail brush for that, and we're just going to put a little star on there. Very simple little star. And when I get to this point, of course, I want all the chalk lines to be gone. And does it need something, maybe a little garland or something? I'm going to put some pink lights on there. I'm going to mix a little white with my pink so that I don't have it too dark. And I'm going to use the back end of the brush and just dab them on, just to carry that color right through. And it's a matter of just dipping the brush in the paint. It almost could be little ornaments. You could almost take a brush just a tiny bit bigger and just do ornaments. See how carrying the color through, you might not even notice why your eye's attracted to it, but it's because you're thinking about the palette and using it to your advantage. And I think that's just enough for the tree. I might just take now and do some details in white. So I've got my detail brush, little white paint. When I'm doing detail work, I'm thinning some of that paint down. I'm going to pull some white aside, thin it with water, because I don't want big globs of paint, and it's been sitting there, and it needs to, maybe a little white highlight on my star. Could even connect some of these guys, like there it's a little string of light. And you know what's great about the snowman is you can just keep them out all year, too. It does not have to be a Christmas thing. I'm just putting a little bit of white on the top, like it fell on these needles, because I'm going to paint some snowflakes, sorry. We already painted the snowman. So I would give his little eyes, I know they're teeny, but just a tiny little white highlight. I would maybe give a little bit of a white highlight down the side of the hat. Definitely give your little candy cane this sort of a thing. How does that make it come alive all of a sudden, right? And you could put a little bit of snow on his arms. If he's been out in the snow, you might have caught some there. You could put some, if he's out on the snow, he might have some on his hat. And he could even have some up here. So there, that's basically done. I would look at him. How's he look? Does he need a little more white on him? You could always go back, you know, if you wanted to, and, you know, dab some white on him. I've got white with colors in it there, but you could get a little brighter just on the tippy edges there. As heavy as you want, you could go with a palette knife and add it on if you wanted to. So how do I make snow? A couple different ways. I'm going to try on this guy to just draw some on with like a white pen or a white marker, white paint marker, which is so fun for the details. And then sometimes I just spatter on with my toothbrush. I might want to just draw them quick. Now I'm going to try this. I'm not sure how it's going to be on here. So let's try first. And you might like these for your painting or mixed media work or anything. It's a Uniball Signo brand. It's like a gel pen in white. It's the only one that I can find that writes on top of everything and covers. I also have some Posca paint markers, but I am going to I have a little reference I have a Christmas card I designed, and I use the reference for that for my snowflakes. But basically, you can start like a little circle, but I'm not sure how this is going to work. Let's just try it. And then I just sort of do all these little arms coming out. It's a little bit wiggly on there, like because of the texture of the canvas. This little Posca marker, I've just never tried before. It's got a brush tip as opposed to them that just have the fine tip. And I'll tell you, I spent about 20 minutes before I came on trying to get the paint out, and I was going crazy because, you know, you shake it up, it doesn't come out, it takes a long while to get the tip. Well, this is a brush, and it never came out, so I figured out, look what you have to do. You have to open it up, and you push down here, and it forces the paint through. So that was a little bit of a learning experience. I don't know how these are going to work. It's on a brush, though, so it might be kind of cool. So I could maybe try it. Oh, I like this way better. It's really like painting. And what I do is I just start with shapes like that. You could have big ones, little ones, and then I just put dots, but I think I'll do the dots with a little, just with my paint. So I know this is the wrong amount of arms, say, for a snowflake, but this is how I do them to start. I just do this. I get them on like this. I vary the sizes. this is working out well. I know it might be easier with a marker where you're just pressing down. This you have to use a little light touch because it is a brush, but the paint is flowing out of it really nicely. And I think I'm going to do this rather than the spattering, which I do love, and you could do both. You could certainly do both. Just little bits here and there. Some of these are just going to have little dots. Some you could go back and just make little decorative lines and things. No one's going to really look at it that close and see that it's perfect, but sometimes it's just a little bit of line work. Sometimes I'll do these little like arrow things. Looks like the end of an arrow almost. Just, you know what, just Google snowflake pictures and just kind of copy them the best you can. Like I say, these little guys are just going to have dots, and I'm going to make those with a little stylus and some paint because I like the texture it will give. And I'll probably go back maybe and add more if I need to. But for now, I just want to show you because you don't need to watch me paint every single one of those. It's kind of boring. So let's see. Margaret, thank you so much for the stars. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. What am I using again? Is it it's the acrylic paints? And that is a little, this one that I found that worked well is a Posca marker, a Posca paint marker, and it is actually paint inside. So you have to shake it up. And this one has the brush end. Most of them that I've always used are just with the regular tip. You still have to shake that up and get it to go through the tip. But I saw the brush ones and I thought, let me try that. And so it looks kind of cool. You can just make some little strokes and things. Might be good to have a black and a white one. So that's those guys. So now I take just like a little stylus. It's like a little dotting tool or a stylus, or again, a very thin back end of your brush. And with a little thicker white, I will maybe dot on like in the middle of my snowflakes and then just around the edge. And again, it's just the appearance. These are, you put these under the microscope, they're not going to look like real snowflakes. But it gets the idea across, right? I put some in the middle. And then I would also use this and just put some here and there. Since I'm not spattering it and I want a little bit of texture, I will just dot these here and there. Wouldn't it be cute in all different colors? Purples, you know, if you did, instead of the pink, you could do like a purple palette, background, a light blue, a dark blue sky, like a night sky is always nice with the snowflakes on it. And like I said, I'm just kind of randomly doing these little dots. I'm not being too careful. This one doesn't even have all of the little lines that I started to do. I did a little line there, maybe. And I find it easy just to Google snowflake images and just copy those. Now, the best part. Are you ready for the best part? You always want to sign your name too, but the best, this is my favorite part, is taking off the blue tape because it's like the big reveal. And it's so cool because you have that nice crisp edge now. Of course, I have it bleed through sometimes. I have a little bit of extra paint up there. We do not worry about little bits. This is handmade, people. We don't want to worry about it. So look at that. This is my favorite thing. So wouldn't this be great to put your gift in? This is the gift, really. You can make a little card that matched. You could put a name if you wanted. But I so love them. They're so cute, and that is what I'm painting for you today. So thank you guys for all watching. I'm going to peruse the questions, and if I have any, and I can put any answers in there for you guys if you have any questions about everything. But happy Sunday, and now it's going to be time to get ready for football, and I will see you guys again. Like I said, I do this not on a, I'm so busy I don't have a regular schedule I could do it, so I just on a whim will pop in. Since I'm painting it anyways, you might as well come along for the ride. So if you'd like, just text me at that number. But thank you guys for watching. See you all soon. Bye now.